Right, greetings everyone. It is time for yet another video, and you can tell by the lapis number that I have been previously, you know what, I don't care about saving anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't. So anyway, he says, so let's talk about one of our previous videos, which was about the really bad ideas, the worst things, and I predicted something really bad. I predicted, I don't like even remember, but it was pretty awful. Most people agreed that it was generally a pretty awful idea. But, you know, there's been a few bad ones that I would like to shout out. For instance, Joa Fitzgerald, hollow units that can't use soul stars or universal mind spheres. That's actually pretty bad and probably not too far away of a possibility. What else? Premium cost units, 110 cost units, for example. A new limit burst type, like super limit burst. Surprise count, and oh, sorry, that one was done by Team Ghost Rider NC, as well as Volt Magnum, who said a surprise EOS countdown. Okay, that one's not exactly a unit idea, but yeah, that's pretty funny. There were a few interesting ideas there. Those were two of the ones that I liked that were not super long, that were pretty quick to read. And there were a bunch of people with just a bunch of fears and everything like that. And of course, I mean, the problem is that there always needs to be a new treadmill for people to get on and, you know, get, continue the cycle of, you know, new units being more powerful. That's always the thing. However, there's one more thing that I wanted to say, that Mad Hyodraman said, which really liked the haircut, and thank you everyone for the haircut compliments. But I do have a feeling that one of the things was that he said I needed a new pair of glasses. So anyway, for the rest of this video, let's just do this. Don't worry, there's no passwords being reflected in these glasses, so I just look cool. And as a cool guy, I'm going to be doing some more Final Fantasy playthroughs, if you didn't hear. That's the goal going forward. So anyway, for the rest of this video, I wanted to also contribute one more absolutely awful idea to this pitch of really terrible ideas. People are talking about this idea of 110 cost units and whatever, but I think that there's something key that's missing from that equation, which would be two very scary words put together into one FFBE style word, if you will. Neo Visions. That's right. I think it's entirely possible that we see a new rarity because it would give them an excuse to bump the rarity down of older units, to segment the pool again, and basically make it so that newer units would be in a more exclusive pool, a more shrunk down pool. Even if it's at a lower rate, it would generally be potentially at least a little bit positive in terms of letting people get older units easier, like bumping it up to a 10 or 15% rate for like the gold book, except now we have a red shiny book which has Neo Visions and is only like a 1% rate or something like that, because you can't have the good without the bad, and that would be a mix of both, so that is definitely a possibility. But Neo Visions was the one thing that nobody uttered in the comments, so I'm going to utter it here. However, we're not just here to shout out about that today. There's actually something else that I want to shout out, which was a comment made in my Discord. Like, over the last little while, reading some stuff on Discord about just team building and some people getting really frustrated because they forgot to spend all of their boss tickets on the Secret of Mana event, which it's rough. We've all done something silly over the course of our time here. I wanted to shout out Vromby, who he's not specifically in our Discord, but he is in, I think, the main Discord. So Vromby, this part of the video is just for what you wrote, and I'm giving you full credit what I'm saying in my video, so cool sunglasses. And it started out with a comment of, that's a moot point since they all lost to the Realmscourge, laughing my something off. And Bromby responded with this: the Realmscourge is just a MacGuffin to keep the story in soap opera mode and avoid any real narrative development. Unless Realmscourge becomes an Esper or a playable character, it has virtually no impact on any aspect of the game that matters. Hot take: Realmscourge is just a metaphor for EOS. It looms over the game at all times, and there's no way to avoid it or defeat it. Which, you know what? That might be the most brilliant thing that I've read about Wotv in the entire almost 5 years that it's been around. And it's actually pretty apt, to say the least, about that it is a metaphor for EOS. EOS is something that is on everybody's mind recently, especially with FFE Global dying off and Wotv Global kind of just really not on the best financial of grounds. Honestly, taking a look at recent Sensory Tower data, it didn't seem that like it was much of a different story between the last few months. Wotv Global versus Global FFE, both were making not really that much amount of money. And as far as I'm concerned, and everybody's concerned, like the development costs are proven to just be higher for this game than it is for FFE. So it's interesting that they're willing to float this game's global version, and it could just be because they put themselves into a bit of a corner. Like with FFE Global shutting down, and this being built up as their flagship game, this game dies first. That would be rather embarrassing. So they actually chose to cut costs by killing FFE, a slightly cheaper game, to float the more expensive one longer. It's an interesting idea, but yeah, I do think that, you know, US is this thing that we all constantly have on our minds, because one, it basically declares when most of us will be free, but it is just this ever-present thought that is in everybody's, and yet JP continues to be more healthy and people keep spending money left, right, and center on it. So I guess some people aren't afraid of the Realmscourge. But yeah, it even just brings up a point for me personally where the Realmscourge was such a cool idea at the start of it, but it really has just become too much the central focus of the story. And I think I've denoted in a few streams recently, as well as just videos, that I'm kind of over this part of the story by now. I'm really ready to move on. Can we just bloody kill off the Realmscourge? Does it need to continue? And whether or not it's just being used as a stall tactic to potentially develop the next season, much at the expense of just being interesting, which is probably not very good. I honestly would not mind so much if we got story updates a little further apart, but they were generally more interested and more, I don't know, resource packed when they actually did come. Taking a look at events like in like a game like Princess Connect, which has been running for, you know, just longer than this game. It has story updates that just don't happen that often, but then tends to focus major events even around the, you know, big story events, which kind of feels a little bit more significant to the plot, the characters, and making it feel a little bit more exciting when a story update drops, because it's not always just, well, here's 10 stages, which recently, even on JP, taking a look at the most recent story updates, there aren't even 10 stages anymore. The resources hasn't changed for people who are worried about it, but it's pretty limp, to say the least, that we just get like 5 battles now. It's a sign that they're just kind of cutting back in other places as well. And maybe, again, it needs to be reevaluated, if it even can be, or if they are even in it. Either way, shout outs to, of course, Oh no, you can see everything. Oh, curtains fell down. Shoutouts to Vromby for one of the best posts I've seen in a while that actually made me chuckle quite a bit. And shoutouts to also my commentators who made some interesting ideas. But remember, find out the truth not too much longer. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you later.